Yo, yo, yo. Hey, yo, what's good to all my heroes and villains out there? You know who it is. It's your boy LC. Guys, welcome to another episode of Heroes and Villains Collectibles. And, yo, this is going to be a good one, yo. We got some Marvel updates. All right. So, what we'll do is we will start first with the Black Panther news. Okay, we got the Black Panther 3 Shadows of Wakanda. So that one's gonna be filming sometime this year. So let's go ahead and start with this one.
With Black Panther. Let's get into the Black Panther stuff.
There we go. All right, let me start that right there. And then we'll go switch over. Bam, right here. There we go. All right, guys. So this is going to be the Black Panther 3 update. So we're going to see what's going on. We got John Walker. He's going to be giving us the 411. So let's go ahead and check that out.
With Black Panther. Let's get into the Black Panther stuff here, Winston. Let's talk about it. After many months, this is coming to us from GamesRadar.com. They're written by Megan Garside. Hope I'm saying that right, Megan. No offense there. After many months of radio silence, Black Panther 3 has finally received an update, and it looks like work will be starting on the Marvel Phase 6 movie very soon. According to a new listing on Film and Television Industry Alliance, Black Panther 3 is due to start shooting in London on June 15th of 2026. What's that, like 4 or 5 months from now? The sequel still does not have an official release date, but if cameras are due to start rolling this summer, it will only be a matter of time until we find out when the Marvel project is due to hit screens. The document also states that the third installment will be titled Shadows of Wakanda, and will explore Wakanda's vulnerability after T'Challa's death, with Shuri stepping up as both warrior and leader. This means the star Letitia Wright will return as Shuri. We already had an inkling that T'Challa's sister Shuri would lead the third movie following the passing of her brother and mother. Wakanda Forever saw Shuri shake up the mantle and become the new Black Panther. The new plotline also all but confirms that Shuri will survive the events of Avengers Doomsday, which will premiere this December, and Secret Wars arriving a year later. That is if Black Panther 3 does indeed take place after Avengers 6. The news also comes at the same time as F1 star Damson Idris addressed rumors of him taking over as Black Panther. In an interview with Variety, Idris said, "I'm, quote, thankful to the fans. Of course, it's rumors, but I love that movie. I love the world." Although Shuri is leading this one, we could see Idris join the franchise in the future, perhaps as an older version of T'Challa's son, who we met in the Black Panther 2 post-credit scenes. Of course, the only actor confirmed at the moment is Denzel Washington, who would take on a new role written for him by director Ryan Coogler, who won last night at the Golden Globes. We expect to see Denai Guerrero return as Okoye, as well as Michaela Cole-Zaneka and Florence Kasumba's Ayo. Assuming he makes it out of Doomsday alive, there's a high likelihood that Winston Duke will return as M'Baku. I sure fucking hope so. That's my favorite character. Winston, your thoughts on this as you hear this? Anything new? Anything that strikes you as like fascinating to discuss? What are your thoughts on this?
I don't know how I feel about this not recentering around T'Challa. I don't have a problem with Shuri ruling. There are people that straight out of just misogynoir is just like, I'm not one of those, but I am somebody. The one thing I always said is I was cool with T'Challa not being at the center of that second movie because of the unfortunate passing of Chadwick.
Yeah.
For that second movie. If we really get into this third movie and we have not brought T'Challa in, I am gonna have a really big problem with that. That's not chill at all. Like whether it be the son grown up because of time travel or whatever the hell, or an alternate version or whatever, I'm not okay with that. And so that kind of worries me a little bit to hear that Shuri is once again at the center of it all.
Yeah.
With no rumor of necessarily that, the mantle is being passed or whatever. I don't know. I don't know when and where they want to try and do that. I don't know if like this report is coming out because it's like, oh, well, we meet what T'Challa will be in Doomsday / Secret Wars. So, yes, it's centered around Shuri, and it's like Shuri teaching T'Challa how to become this new T'Challa, how to be king or something. I don't know, but like, if that's truly what we're doing, of just I'm not liking it. That is not something
Yeah.
that I'm about, really.
I got a lot of complex feelings on this one because I like Letitia Wright as an actress, but then I've also got to be realistic and say that she wasn't the greatest lead in Wakanda Forever. And I think the film suffers a little bit. I don't go back and watch Wakanda Forever. I think she's not as strong leading that film as you would like to see an act like Zoe Saldana can lead films. Like Tandy, if you're looking at the actresses that kind of are in the similar range or look as her, and I just don't see necessarily that she's got that kind of energy. Damn good actress. Again, doesn't have the kind of, so the idea of going forward with her, I think, is a bit controversial for people who are maybe not the biggest fan of Wakanda Forever. That being said, though, Ryan Coogler is not someone who listens.
Guys, speaking of which, I was just watching Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, just last night. Just yesterday, I was watching it again, and I was like, even when I was rewatching the movie, I was like, man, this movie could have been completely different if we would have had, T'Challa back. Yeah, she's a good actress, but man, man. She better pass the mantle like in the first 15 to 30 minutes of that movie, of the new one coming out, because we want to see Black Panther, T'Challa. We don't want to see Shuri as Black Panther. Yeah, like I said, I seen it yesterday, and I was like, you know what I mean? But, and I was watching it yesterday only because wifey put it on. Wifey put it on, I look, and I'm like, what the hell? So she wanted to watch Black Panther Part 2. My wife's, one of her favorite movies is the first Black Panther. But we were watching the second one last night, and I was like, even when I was watching it, I was like, nah, son. You know what I mean? So you're not going to make Part 3 and have her lead that movie, and then we're going to get a little bit of some T'Challa. Nah, son. Y'all better start the movie, have her pass the mantle down ASAP, so we can watch Part 3 with a brand new Black Panther. That's just me.
To everybody else. Ryan is going to do what he's going to do. He's got a very distinct story he wants to tell. He had to adjust for Chadwick Boseman's passing, and this is where he's going. But I do think she's going to start out this way, but I do think he's going to bring a Black Panther. And like you've said, Winston, the drum beats of people who want to see T'Challa again in the Marvel Universe is very loud. They love Shuri. Certainly they like Shuri, at least, and they like her as a character, but it's T'Challa who is the Black Panther. And I think to ignore that consistently is going to be a detriment. So what is the path forward? Is it Damson Idris? Is he an alternate T'Challa from another universe who comes in and is stuck here and has to assume the mantle? Or is, as you said, is it the son grown up? Whatever they're going to do here. But something is going to be a part of it. And Winston, we know from the first few trailers, the idea of fathers and sons is coming back to the MCU in a massive way. So the son of T'Challa coming in, being Damson Idris, makes a lot of sense if somehow he is of adult age to be able to take over the mantle. So it's a curious approach, but I don't necessarily think Ryan is just going all in on Shuri. I think this is a setup to set up Black Panther, a new
because where that doesn't make sense is, again, I don't have a problem with Shuri at the as the leader. I don't have a problem with all of that at all. If anything, I was the one that, if you can, I've said it multiple times, my idea for what Wakanda Forever was, you can keep the movie the same how it was, but you have a cold open at the beginning where Black Panther suited up. He's in some sort of fight. He's doing whatever. And Shuri's the woman in the chair, like the support she did when they were in like Korea and all that kind of stuff. Oh, brother, go left, go right, like whatever. Something goes wrong, and she's just like, brother, are you there, brother? And then like cries out. You start to get the Marvel Studios thing, and then you play the movie the rest of the way that the movie played. And then for the post credit, instead of a son, you have Shuri finally accepting that she's queen. She's sitting on the throne. She's tired. She looks up, and you just see an over the shoulder of a pretty torn up habit. Yeah. And you just see her look up and go, brother, and then cut to black. And then you can, in the next movie, I got sucked into a portal. I got whatever it happened where he was gone. So you still respect the legacy of Chadwick and the people making the movie, because that was family. They literally have said multiple times, that was my brother, that was my nephew, that like it devastated them. So you allow for the legacy of T'Challa to be of Chadwick as T'Challa, to have that send off and you tell that story, and then you come back in the next movie of here's what happened to me. And if that was in Secret Wars, he'd already gotten put in an incursion or something like that, or he got pulled away to help. It doesn't matter. You would have figured it out. And so I have always been a main proponent of this, because while Shuri's stories as the Queen of Wakanda, as the Black Panther, are very good, and I thought that it was very important for little black girls to be able to have that same feeling that little black boys did, to see that. I thought that that was paramount.
Yeah.
I also know that Wakanda lives and breathes through T'Challa. Those stories throughout are because of T'Challa. It doesn't mean that the rest of the world isn't important, but it's kind of the same way of like, I love Miles Morales. You can't just do Miles Morales as Spider-Man. At some point, you needed a Peter. If you eventually move on, sure, but at some point, you would still need to bring him back, because even when Peter died in Miles's universe when he was first introduced, ultimately he got pulled out of the Ultimate Universe and put in the main 616 universe. And Peter and Miles are both there. So you need T'Challa because of the vast majority of the stories that have been told of this character, of this nation, is T'Challa. So I genuinely would have a problem if they're not going to find a way to bring him back. And I believe they will, but this just report of how they're starting to film and it's supposed to be centered around Shuri already makes me uneven and like a little uneasy.
Yeah. And I totally hear that. And I wonder what the logic is here, right? Because if you're starting to shoot in June and Doomsday hasn't even come out, if you think you're going to keep the leaks of what you're doing on that set away from people, that if Damson Idris isn't spotted on that set, or there's, you know what I'm saying? Listen, I am scoop adjacent with Jeff Snyder on the hot mic, so I know that shit leaks all the time. I know that stuff comes out before we can even say it. Sometimes I hear things sometimes months in advance before it's announced or said or whatever. And so there is, you know, a lot of people talk. So the idea that you're going to be able to shoot Black Panther 3 in June and somehow you're not going to be found out and give away that it's going to be Damson Idris coming back as Black Panther, I think is going to be real difficult to do, especially, as I said, Doomsday won't have even come out. So you might already have that storyline laid out before you even go see Doomsday. You may already have that in your mind before you go even say Doomsday. So what I think if he does go this route with Shuri and Black Panther 3, it may be his way of like wrapping everything up from that original trilogy. And then after Secret Wars, he's going to do a new Black Panther, because Secret Wars is where we're going to see Damson Idris as Black Panther, and that will spark a new trilogy. Will Ryan stay on to direct them? I don't know, but he will definitely EP them. So the question becomes like, is this just wrapping up stuff from before and also touching on Doomsday, touching on Secret Wars, kind of setting it up so that when this new T'Challa comes in, he will be the T'Challa going forward. And Winston, that gives them more time chronologically in our minds, you know, like it'll be like almost 10 years by the time we see Secret Wars. So we can go in our minds, oh, he has grown up if he's the son of T'Challa. So I just think there's things they can play around. So I think that's what might be happening here, is they just wrapping up the storylines and then setting the groundwork for T'Challa to return.
I certainly hope so, because I mean, there's so many things that we haven't gotten a chance to see yet. I mean, you know, the fact that we're finally bringing the X-Men into the fold, like we haven't seen T'Challa and Storm have their opportunity together. We haven't really, like, we really didn't get a full Illuminati. Like that whole thing is super interesting. The fact that they're calling it the Shadows of Wakanda, I'm curious if they're going to tap into the fact that T'Challa actually is the King of the Dead and is able to summon all the previous Panthers, like their knowledge and straight, like that's one of the reasons why a lot of times he actually is able to whoop like Cap's butt and other people that are equivalent to him as far as strength and all that, is because he is similar to the Avatar. For those that are Avatar: The Last Airbender fans, he is able to, as we saw T'Challa talking to his dad in the other plane. We saw Shuri talk to her cousin in the other plane, technically a previous Black Panther as well. So he has the ability to not only control the army of the dead at times, he has the ability to tap into their battle prowess and their knowledge and on their skill sets and all that kind of stuff. So there is a lot to really be explored as far as all that stuff goes. And again, I'm not saying that Shuri can't keep suiting up and everything else like that, but there are so many T'Challa stories we haven't done that are just paramount to that world. That is where I just need them to hopefully get there. And if that's what it is, if this is just kind of closing this out and it's a passing the mantle film or something like that, sure. Just what we read is why I'm nervous. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at some of the breakdowns here for Shadows of Wakanda, there's not a storyline that Shadows of Wakanda and Black Panther, but it does, as Winston was referencing here, hint at Wakandan history, mysticism, internal threats like the Shadow King, and the mystical shadow physics from the comics. And when you look at shadow physics as an advanced Wakandan science / mysticism that T'Challa pioneered in the comics, allowing multiverse access and connecting to past Black Panthers. Shadow King is a powerful psychic villain from the X-Men comics with possible African Wakandan connections. Could that be Denzel? Ancient Wakandan lore, exploring forgotten histories, war traditions, and potential conflicts with exiled groups like the Akungu. So, yeah, there's a lot of places they can go that'll distract you from the fact that you're not getting a full Black Panther. If you put Denzel as the main villain and he's the Shadow King, that's fucking awesome. And you have M'Baku and Okoye and Shuri and all of them lining up. And is this, if you're dealing with the dead, is this how you bring back T'Chaka or Angela Bassett as Queen Ramonda, or, or even, I guess you can't do AI. You don't want to do that with Chadwick Boseman, but you could have possibly done that with Chadwick.
The fastest way to end up pissing people off is if you try and go Tupac hologram, Michael Jackson hologram, like T'Challa, like Chadwick AI. Good Lord. You would start a shitstorm.
And Luke, mentioning in the chat, tells us that we actually have seen the Shadow King in the Legion show, which is that show that was on FX, led by Dan Stevens, led there. So, I mean, a lot of people want him to show up in Secret Wars as connecting all the X-Men kind of connections through the whole thing. So we'll see. It could be possible for sure. So. All right. Well, let us know what you think about this. What do you want to see in Black Panther 3? What do you think is going to happen here? Do you like the Shuri approach? Do you buy this possible log line? Do you like the title? Do you like where it might be going? As Winston reference to the Shadow King and the mysticism of the side of Wakanda? And Luke, stop it. And will you be excited to see what's coming next for Black Panther 3 for Ryan Coogler? And do you want to see T'Challa in Black Panther 3, or do you want to see them finish stuff out and then lead to another trilogy after Secret Wars? Let us know down in the comments section.
Factor. How many times are?
Oh, that was good. That was good. Yo, all right, my thoughts real quick. Yo, do you know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of when we first got Black Panther in the Captain America Civil War. That's when we saw Black Panther for the first time. And then after that movie, then he got his own movie. You know, that introduction in Captain America, that was an amazing introduction right there. You know what I mean? So this kind of reminds me of the same thing. So he's going to be in Avengers Doomsday. So he's going to be there whooping ass. We're going to be like, that's where we can get used to him. And then after the Doomsday movie, then we're going to, I'm sure we're going to get him also in Secret Wars. But that way, after that, then he gets his own movie, which will be shooting in June. You know what I mean? And yo, like I said, man, I was just watching Black Panther Wakanda Forever last night. And yeah, man, you gotta, like I said, Shuri is cool. I like her as a character, as, you know, like that, you know, that the one of the smartest females there, scientist. You know what I mean? She can be the queen, just like he said. But nah, man, you gotta pass the mantle back. You know, Black Panther, like they said, man, yo, Black Panther has amazing stories that they didn't even touch yet. And then I would love to see that. I would love to see the whole controlling the dead. You know what I mean? That one storyline, that would be dope. That would be dope, man. That would be something different, something new, something a little dark. You know what I'm saying? So yes, I'm really looking forward to this new Black Panther. I really want to see a lot of Black Panther in the new Black Panther movie. Not Shuri. You know what I mean? Like Shuri, she could just stay as queen while we have Black Panther doing his thing. You know what I mean? Like, because man, a lot of people didn't like that new Black Panther, that last Black Panther movie. You know what I mean? And if you wind up making that movie and Shuri being the lead through the whole movie again, yeah, people are gonna hate that. Knowing that you have a new Black Panther, knowing that we just seen him in Avengers Doomsday and in Avengers Secret Wars, and then you're gonna give him his movie in part 3, and then you're gonna like sideline him? Nah, son. So yes, I'm excited for that, and then that'll be dope too. You start a brand new trilogy with this new Black Panther. Like I said, there's a lot of Black Panther stories, yo. So that would be dope, man. That would be real dope. But guys, comment below. Let me know what you guys thought about that one. Let me know what you guys thought about. Let me know what you think about the look, the first Black Panther is still my favorite one out of both of them, obviously. You know what I mean? But yeah, let me know what you guys think about the Wakanda Forever, what you thought about that movie. And you know, when it comes to the first Black Panther, the second Black Panther, which one do you guys prefer? Alright? So that being said, this was dope. This was awesome. This has been another episode of Heroes and Villains Collectibles. I'm your boy, LC. Until next time, guys. Peace.